Good morning and welcome back. So, Robert and I have been trying ketovore for a few weeks now. And in case you're wondering, it does help you meet health goals. I had first heard about it. It was called the Lion Diet with Michaela Peterson, and she suggests to do it for at least 4 weeks, but closer to 8 weeks to start looking for health improvements. I've had issues with like eczema, psoriasis, dermatitis, whatever you want to call it. I also have some issues with hip joint pain when walking. I do also have high blood pressure, which actually didn't start until probably about 2018, 2019. At that time, I was working two jobs and I was pretty stressed. Um, and my blood pressure has stayed fairly high since then. Got it mostly under control with medication, but I'm looking to get off of the medication. And also, I have some allergy issues. And then Robert has some skin issues as well, and he has allergies. So you're probably wondering, is ketovore or carnivore right for me? And what are the pros and the cons? And I'm just going to start off to let you know pros outweigh the cons by a long shot. So let's get started with the pros. The first one is the weight loss. That was a side benefit, but we each have lost in about 7 weeks. Robert's lost 11 pounds and I've lost 9. Not a huge difference, not a huge weight loss. And it has kind of plateaued for me on that. But again, that wasn't my main goal for going on this diet or this way of eating. One of the huge benefits for it was just steady energy all day. We used to drink 2 cups of coffee every morning, like these. They're huge. And like to the top, 2 of these. And then sometimes a coffee in the afternoon. Now we are down to just 1 cup, and it's not even a full cup. So it'll be about 2/3. And then that's it. I'll drink no more coffee for the rest of the day. I never feel like I need to have coffee after lunch. Robert will have coffee after lunch, but it's not because his energy is lagging or lacking. It's just a habit. It's like a comfort. He enjoys coffee. He loves the taste of coffee. And so he'll have some after his lunch. It's been really nice. It's been steady throughout the day, just like this, even if we're exercising. And for me, with the energy, it used to be that by the end of the evening, we would be sitting on the couch, relaxing, watching a movie, watching YouTube, and I would be falling asleep just because my body's like, well, we're still, so that must mean that it's time to go to sleep. Once we've started the ketovore, I have not had that issue. I will be able to stay awake to watch a whole entire movie or a whole entire episode of a show and not be falling asleep. I won't feel like I'm tired. I'll feel like I still have energy, but it's like bedtime, you know? You have to get up to go to work, so you can't stay up the whole night. And so go to bed anywhere between like 9 to 9:30, and I will not feel tired, but then once I lay down, I'm asleep within 5 to 10 minutes. And that's a wonderful feeling for someone who has struggled for so long to be able to fall asleep easily. For me, I have had less hip pain. So when we go for our walks, the 2.5 mile walk, there were times if I had been sitting at work for a majority of those 8 hours, and then plus you're driving to work and driving home, my hip would be bothering me. I would limp or have to slow down, take a little bit of a break. Like when we would hit the halfway mark, I would have to be like, I need to stretch just a little bit in order to make it through that walk. And once we started ketovore, I haven't had to do that. I'm not saying that I walk really fast when we do the walks, but I don't have to stretch. My hip is not bothering me. I'm not limping, and I'm not walking slower during portions of the walk. My walk, the pace stays consistent throughout the whole walk. My blood pressure is also a little bit lower. I think those days when I was at work and I would come home, and if I was stressed and not taking the medication, that's when my blood pressure would be elevated. There has been a couple times where I was taking the medication. It was a pretty relaxing time at work, or we were over the weekend or something like that. And my blood pressure got like really low. And so I would not take the medication for a couple of days and then take my blood pressure. It was back up to about 125/85. And then I would start taking the medication again. So I'm sure there's doctors or somebody in the medical field who is like just cringing that I say that I do and don't take my blood pressure medication on a regular basis. But I want to see if the ketovore or the carnivore diet is helpful in lowering naturally the blood pressure so that I don't have to take this medication for the rest of my life. So far with allergies, neither Robert or I have had a huge problem with oak. I mean, I guess there's Sahara dust or something that's coming across the ocean, the Atlantic, and we're right here on the east coast of Florida. So it gets a little hazy, it gets a little bad sometimes. We do have that giant oak tree out back, and thankfully, being on ketovore, we have not had the issues that we've had previously. We haven't had to take any of the over the counter allergy medications. Eyes haven't been horrible. We haven't been super stuffed up. I would always get super stuffy before going to bed and haven't had those issues. I breathe pretty easily now while I'm sleeping. Another pro, huge in for me, is meal prep and meal planning. Um, you're not having to chop a bunch of vegetables or buy a bunch of extra ingredients and make sure you have these herbs and these spices. It's literally meat and salt. Sometimes we'll put pepper and then butter. It can't get any easier than that. It's just like, well, do we want steak or do we want burgers tomorrow? Let's take it out of the freezer and put it in the fridge and then just grill them in the morning, take them with us to work. We do still eat cheese and heavy whipping cream in our coffee. And I know coffee is technically a no-no on carnivore, but again, we're doing ketovore and it's just really hard to give up that warm cup of coffee in the mornings. So we have just done that, but again, it's just one in the morning and then one in the afternoon for Robert. So for the cons, there's not many. Eating out, or if there's anything at work, I don't know if your office is like mine, but someone will always be bringing in bagels or muffins for breakfast in the morning. There's a celebration because it's someone's birthday, so then there's cake, or even just fruit if they want to be healthy. And you have to say no to all of that. I still go. It's just sometimes it can be really awkward to just have to constantly be saying, no, thank you, I'm good. I'm not going to have any of that, but thank you for offering. Some people are really good about just kind of backing away. Other people give you this weird look or they keep pushing, and it just makes it a little bit awkward with celebrations at work. And then when you're going out, you do have to kind of be like, I want a plain burger. I don't want the bread. I don't want the lettuce. I don't want the onions or the tomato on it. If you're, going out to a steakhouse, you're like, I want the steak. And then it comes with sides and you don't want the sides. So ordering out can be a little odd or a little difficult at times, especially if they're putting sauces on chicken wings or if it's all burgers with sauces on it. You have to say specifically you don't want the sauce or none of the seasonings. So that can be probably one of the biggest cons, just because it can be a little bit more difficult to be eating out. So my thing is I like salty and crunchy. I've never been a big sweets person, so my thing was always like potato chips. I did eat, vegetables with hummus, so there's like that crunch from carrots and stuff like that. Con for me is that there's nothing crunchy on a regular basis. I do eat pork rinds. That is one of the things that's on our list that we buy on a regular basis. Um, just sometimes pork rinds just don't feel like enough, but they are delicious. My last con is my skin issues are not fully resolved. And I do feel that they're less, but I was kind of hoping that they would be fully resolved. But again, it's only been, I think, probably about 45 days or so. Maybe by the time I post this, it'll be closer to 60, 65. I'm not sure when I'm going to upload this video, but that's my biggest concern with that is for health reasons is that my skin issues have not gone away. But again, that's really not a con. It may just be that I have so much in my body built up toxin wise that it's just taking a little bit of time to get it all out. So again, we are going to be sticking with the ketovore carnivore diet for the foreseeable future. Again, because it's so simple for meal planning and prepping. There are huge health benefits, not just weight loss, but with allergies and blood pressure. And I don't know if my hip issues were related to potentially arthritis or anything like that, but they have been alleviated. So if you have some joint pain, if you have high blood pressure, again, consult your doctor, because I'm not a doctor, but really consider doing the ketovore or the carnivore diet. Some of the people that I found the most helpful with this is Dr. Ken Berry and Dr. Tony Hampton. I will put links to their channels down below. They have a wealth of knowledge and they are actually doctors. And so they can kind of walk you through some of the pros with it and how to do it properly. Because again, you have to do it, it's different for everybody. That is what I have for you today. I hope that if you are having any health issues, you maybe take a look into doing ketovore or carnivore. And if you're going to do it, just give me a little comment down below. Let me know. If you're already doing it, then if you have any tips or tricks, I would love to hear from you. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next week.